Welcome, Tamers. Tonight we'll be doing a small discussion in regards to the ban list that was published by Bandai that's taking effect on the August 31st. To start off, we'll be talking about Ukomon, the promo P123. This one, I believe it's a good hit for most decks. It definitely is gonna slow down a lot of the hybrid decks that don't really need a rookie, for them to just constantly check security. Same thing with Numemon that uses the Ukomon package. It'd be like the 8 Ukomons, but the promo and the BT16 Ukomon. Unfortunately, they only hit this one. They didn't hit the promo Ukomon. I believe they should have done a pair ban, just because you're still able to like hatch an egg and do a search, so you're getting two things out of one Ukomon. The only thing draw for using that one is that you have to pay one memory, but paying one memory for an extra egg and a search, it's really good. So I believe if they would have done a pair ban, would have actually helped most of the other decks, because now you would have to like really think if you need to run both Ukos, and then it would allow for better deck building in terms of like using cards that are not fully utilized, right? It's kind of like an Ancient Gurumon where everybody's doing like the Muchamon package with like the Ukomons, the Bokomons. By pair banning these two, I believe it would have at least promoted the use of the Strabimon, right, in those decks. But overall, I think it's a decent ban or restriction to one. Next, we have the Louis. Pretty much this Louis paired up with the BT6 mat is just too strong. It would gain so much memory when you were promoting one of your Gamma ones from raising, and it was just not once per turn, so you would always be able to hatch, right, and then gain the memory once you play out the Louis and promote another Gabumon. This getting hit to one doesn't really affect most decks aside from the Ancient Gurumon. I, for myself, was only using one copy of the Louis for most decks that I would run. I believe it's like a good tech to do a Louis for game, where like you have game, and then you just drop this for 3, promote your Ukomon, tap him to gain the memory from the Ukomon, and then just swing for game. So being restricted to one is good. I believe it would put a stop to the Ancient Gurumon deck. Next up, we have Hammer Spark, another card that's been around for like the longest, especially like hitting an insecurity, your opponent gains 2 memory. So this one can actually affect you when trying to go for game against certain blue decks, or the majority of the blue decks that run it. It's able to extend their plays. Like the description says, that with so much card draw in certain decks like Ancient Gurumon, you're able to like at least see 1 or 2 copies, and then if you need that extra memory, it literally doesn't cost you anything. It's 0 cost to gain 1 memory. So it being restricted to 1, I believe it's a really good hit for a lot of the blue decks that abuse this card. So it being at 1, it's great. It's kind of like Ice Wall being restricted to 1. So I think both cards should have been hit at the same time to prevent all the issues that are coming forward, but at least they hit it. So now you would only have to see either tech it as a one-off or not even use it at all. So I think this one's a good choice. Next up is Awakening of the Golden Knight from BT9. This one, I believe, is just very oppressive when used in the yellow vaccine variant, because you could just go pat him on in the back. If you don't have this card in hand, you could just evo into your 4 in raising, and then let's say you draw into it, you promote the next turn, pay 3, and then you just warp from your level 4 to the level 6 into the Magna. So this made the deck incredibly strong, where they could just skip a lot of levels and just have this huge wall right in front of you that's very hard to get rid of. especially being able to warp so early in the game, where like let's say you're running a slower deck, you need to set up like either playing training boost, raising in the back, seeing your pieces, and then just okay, turn 2 Magna X, I'll swing, cool, something was removed security, I'll restand, swing again, and then on the crackback, let's say you're just trying to use a Digimon with a draw card, you just want to die in security just to get that draw with the, let's say the red Coromon egg. By you doing that and removing a security, it affects activates his effect, so then now you have like this big blocker you need to get rid of that's like 18k. So this getting hit 2-1, I do think it was a good hit, but I believe it should have either hit this, or if not hit Emissary of Hope, because now they're just gonna take more emissaries into their decks, but at least now you don't have to worry about them warping into a 6 turn 2. Now they have to actually go to like the level 4 and then 5 and then finally the 6. So it's pretty good, but I think overall you could still warp into Magna just by hard evoing like a Magnamon into the Magna X. I think evos for 5. But overall I think it's an okay like hit, because most blue decks, most blue base Magna X's don't even run one or two, more than 2 copies. If anything, they just want to run the one of. Right, so moving on, we have the hit to Numemon X Antibody. This one, especially with like the Louis and the Uko, definitely hit the deck hard, just because Numemon was using all 3 of them in the deck. Even as a one of the Louis, it really helps the deck out with going for those Louis for games, or if not, just promoting out and having an extra body so that when you play Monzimon, you can DP minus a lot. Now without this card, it's harder for you to recur those level 6s from trash easily. So now I think you could still get away without using it. Even as a one-off, you could still run a little more of the protoforms. That way when you could still do your Monzimon X, still recover something and grab something from trash. But this one won't allow you to like play that Platinum Nume from trash and then just go into Ruin mode and just locking your opponent out of the game. I think was an okay hit. I wasn't in the boat of them hitting Monzimon X, because the main culprit of the issue was this guy, because he was the one that would facilitate you go, okay, cool, my sack dies, I'll play this Garamon, trash 1, draw 2, cool. Or oh, he dies, Monzimon has this in his hand, on deletion, I'll play a Platinum Nume, trash 2, gain a memory, or trash 1 to gain a memory. So I think this was the actual issue in the deck, but them hitting 3 cards in it, it's really unfortunate. But now I think we could just go back to like the black base with the Agumon X, or if not, just run a lot more of the Floodgate rookies, so like the Kokuwamons, the Chumons, and the Chikurimons, right? And then you still run your 4 Ukos and then the 1 promo with the 1 Louis. So it's not a bad hit, but I think it's probably like the deck that got hit the most, with the exception of Ancient Guru, which got also like 3 hits. Right, and then moving forward, TK. This TK, it does extend the plays for like the yellow vaccine variant, where you have 3 tickets on the field, you add a trash security or add something to security based off an effect, boom, you gain 3 memory. So this one pairing really well with the Magna X and also the Patamon. It just made the games a lot rougher for you as an opponent player, with them gaining so much memory and also able to set up their security with cards that they need. So you would play this turn 1, put your level 4 right after hatching and going into Patamon, You put a Rapidmon in security, cool. Since you put something in security, you suspend them and then gain a memory, right? You could even choke to 2. Next turn you promote, cool. Patamon activates, search your security, cool. Evo for free into a Rapidex. Tap the Tamer, gain the memory after you recover, right? So it's just it was a very strong combo. Yeah, it affects a lot of the 3 Great Angels and other decks that would use the TK, but at least now Yellow Vaccine won't have access to the free memory, and also like a way for them to remove security so that their Magnamon would trigger. So I think this was a really good hit. If this was not hit, I was hoping for Emissary of Hope, just because a 1 cost option to evolve in from anything, right? Evolve 1 your Digimon into whatever it's in the you're missing from security, and then also recovering, just really strong. So I guess now with this being hit, they'll probably run more of the Emissary of Hope to make use of that same ability. Then we go to cards that the one card that made it out of the prison ban, and this is the starter 6 Gabumon, where inherit is 1 attacking trigger, draw 1, and then you trash 1 card from your hand. I think this one's a good restriction for like a lot of the purple decks that need that draw 1 trash 1 to fill up trash, just because there's not that many rookies that do it anymore. So at least he's not as busted as the other ones that are still banned. So this one will help out a lot of purple decks in terms of like just cycling and filling up the trash. So overall, do I like the bans? I'm on like a 50-50 on the restrictions. Is it gonna change the meta? Of course. There's probably gonna be like a shift in the decks being played. I think now Imperial is probably gonna be bumped up to like tier 1. Same thing as Mirage. Mirage didn't really get a hit, so that one's gonna still be like top dog so far. Imperial, a lot of people suggest having the Ken Davis restricted, which I think it's an okay suggestion, but the deck itself already breaks. Like, you have a hard time finding your pieces. It's very piece reliant. So even if you hit the Tamer in security, if all they have in their hand is 5 and 6s, you can't really DNA, or can't even use the effect of the Tamer because you don't have anything to play with it. I think once they see the Tamers, it is harder for the opponent to actually do something, just because every turn they'll be playing a rookie. They can even DNA. I think somebody was saying the better hit for the deck is maybe like hitting one of the XVs, gain the memory, or if not the Stingmon that also gains your memory, because that will stop them from gaining 2 on DNA, and then it'll force them to use the other XVs for other deck building options. So then Mirage, like always, no hits. It's still a strong deck, very consistent compared to like Imperial. So this one, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna still be playing it. In terms of like the hybrid decks, they're still fast even without the Ukos. Even running just the 4 of the other one, the decks are still pretty strong, especially like the Ancient Garurumon, where you technically don't even need the Ukos in a way, as long as you have your Kendo, Lobo, and your Ancient. You could constantly draw and then keep bouncing things just to remove security. As for Ancient, I for one don't even use these in the cards in Ancient. I just use mainly like the Flamon engine, where it's like all red hybrid, all Flamons, and then just go into the promo and then try to clear as much security as I can. So they're still fast decks, especially BT18 with more support coming for the hybrid decks, and also like right now EX7 right around the corner, where we will be getting like Hexablow, the new Nature Spirits. So I'm pretty sure like people will be making a lot of different decks with the new cards being added to the meta. But that's my overall thoughts on the ban. If you have any questions, any suggestions in regards to any videos, or like any opinions you have towards the ban, you can let me know in the comments. I'll go ahead and read those and then see if we have any differing ideas. But thank you guys for watching this, and like and subscribe if you like the video. Have a good night.